I'm going to share with you the single most important choice that you will make in your life. The craziest part about it, most aren't even aware they have the choice. Are you? Hi, my name is Pete Kolash, high performance coach and founder of Operating Excellence. Now, you and I make choices every single day. Some, of course, are more important than others. This is the single most important choice that you will make. Why? It's the one choice that impacts everything else. To bring this to life, I want you to imagine that we're looking at a spectrum of desirability. And as we move further and further to the right, things become more desirable. So if we're speaking financially or economically, on the left, you have folks, of course, who are poor or of lesser financial means. On the right, you have folks who are wealthy. On the left, you have folks who are unhealthy, physically, mentally, spiritually. On the right, you have folks who are healthy. On the left, you have folks who are unhappy. And of course, on the right, you have folks who are happy. Now, before I go any further, very, very important point I want to make right now. I'm not suggesting that if you are wealthy, you're going to be healthy and happy as well. You and I both know plenty of people who make great money, but who are not healthy and or happy. I'm merely suggesting that as we move further and further to the right, things become more desirable. I think we'd all be able to agree, greater wealth, greater health, greater happiness, generally speaking, a positive thing. Now, the million-dollar question is, well, what's in here? You know, what separates people who are making great money? What separates people who are able to build good health and happiness for themselves? And I think that's a fantastic question. Now, here's the challenging part. It depends on who you ask, right? If you are of lesser financial means at this stage of your life, or you're unhealthy, or you're unhappy, or God forbid all three, and you ask person number one, hey, what's in here? What's separating me from generating greater wealth, health, and happiness? They might give you a response, something to the tune of, well, it's politics, locally or nationally or internationally, or it's the economy, or it's socioeconomics, it's your upbringing, it's how you were raised, or, hey, listen, the universe is just unfair. Now, the issue with this rationale or this response is this is what we call an external locus of control. In other words, it's external variables that determine how your life turns out. And if you subscribe to that, ultimately what you're doing is deflecting responsibility. Now, that's not to say that these variables aren't important, and it's not to say that these variables aren't very real. And hear me when I say this. It's not to say that some people aren't born with advantages and others with disadvantages. It's merely to say that at this point of your life, your ability to move forward in a desirable direction and the likelihood of you doing it will suffer tremendously if you have an external locus of control and if you believe that it's variables that are outside of your control that determine how your life turns out. You know, if you're not where you want to be at this stage in your life and you deflect your ability to improve your circumstances, it's going to lead to you feeling stagnant and frustrated. And if you're not where you want to be at this stage of your life and you believe that your ability to move forward in your life is tied predominantly to variables that are outside of your control, then you're going to feel very disempowered. Now, fortunately, just the opposite is true. If you're at a season in your life where you're not where you want to be, whether it's your wealth, your health, your happiness, or God forbid all three, and you ask person number two, hey, what's in here? What's separating me from generating greater wealth, health, and happiness? They may give you a response, something to the tune of, well, it's your philosophy, right? Your attitude, your mentality, your outlook, or it's your habits, or it's the systems that you're plugging into to generate greater wealth, health, and happiness, or it's the principles by which you're living your life, right? Now, this is what we call an internal locus of control. In other words, these are internal variables, variables that are within your control that determine how your life turns out. And dissimilar to person number one, instead of deflecting responsibility here, we're owning it. And anytime you're owning things as leveraged, as pivotal, as crucial as your philosophy, your habits, your systems, your principles, your processes, you are going to see progress and growth. How often? Every single time. And whenever you're making meaningful progress in areas like your relationships or your health or your happiness or your career or your finances, you're going to feel very empowered. If you commit yourself, if you own your philosophy and your attitude and your mentality, and you work to refine it, to make sure that it's in higher alignment with what you want and where you're going. And if you're carefully building and learning and implementing new habits in your life to create wealth and health and happiness, And if you're looking at the systems and the principles by which you live your life and by which you're committed to, and you're willing to own it and make the adjustments to improve it, I'm telling you, regardless of where you're at now, how you were born and what luxuries you enjoyed or didn't enjoy, you've made the most powerful and significant choice you can make. You've made the choice to take your life and your livelihood in your hands. Is that to say that politics and the economy and socioeconomics are not important? No, it's not to say that. However, if you subscribe to that, you've imprisoned yourself. The likelihood of you making any progress is very limited. But if you subscribe to proactively working on the things in your life that are most important for how your life turns out, I'm telling you, you've made the choice that will positively impact all else. You've made the choice that will change your life. Now, if you've fallen on tough times and you're in a season in your life where you're struggling financially or with your health or with your happiness or God forbid all three, and you ask person number one, hey, what's in here? And you believe and you commit and you subscribe to what they share with you, well, you will very likely remain poor, unhealthy, or unhappy, or God forbid all three, which is going to lead to you feeling helpless, hopeless, powerless, and purposeless. But here's the good news. If you're at a point in your life, if you're at a season in your life where you've fallen on tough times and you're struggling financially, or you're unhealthy, or you're unhappy, or God forbid all three, and you ask person number two, hey, what's in here? How do I move this forward? And you subscribe and you commit to what they share, well, you're going to create greater wealth, health, and happiness for you in all of the most important areas of your life. And ultimately, that's going to lead to you feeling more helpful and hopeful and powerful and purposeful. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I say this is the single most important choice that you will make in your life, because it is the one choice that impacts everything else.